Well, hello and good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Play Back-to-Back Movie Reviews. And today we're going to be talking about M. Night Shyamalan's Old. And I know this movie just came out, and I went ahead and watched it opening night on Thursday, and today is Sunday. So, like I said, please forgive me for taking a little bit too long to having this review posted. It's just that I have a life. I gotta live it, so please bear with me. And thank you very much for everybody with your patience. And just to give you guys a heads up, these videos do contain spoilers. So if you have not watched this movie just yet, go ahead and pause this video, go to your local movie theater, check it out, and then you can come back home, watch and listen to what I have to say. And if you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comments section on the bottom. Let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies. But more importantly, I love to talk about them with you. So let's go ahead and get started here, everybody. M. Night Shyamalan's Old. Every so often, about every other year, Shyamalan happens to have a new and particular film. He's very interesting and very unique sort of director. There was a time within his earlier debut of his movies that they actually entitled him as this generation's Steven Spielberg. But Spielberg himself is not even that perfect either, because he's had several fails in the past as well. So Shyamalan isn't really that perfect either. He has had a lot of terrible films, but yet he has also had some really great, terrific ones too. I know that he's done great movies. I mean, every so often, every other year, he would do The Sixth Sense, and then Untouchables. Signs is my most personal favorite. The Village, Lady in the Water, which is a terrible movie. The Happening, another terrible movie. I think, what was next? I don't know. He just has so many of them. You got, of course, Split, which was a very incredible movie. Glass, The Visit, which I have not seen. That's the only Shyamalan movie I've not seen. But yes, I mean, he has so many movies that are very, very memorable, regardless if they're good or bad. There is also, because there was a time when he did not even entitle his movies with his name attached to it, like The Last Airbender, or After Earth, with Will Smith and his son, Jaden Smith. But here we get M. Night Shyamalan's Old. This actually caught a lot of people's attention, because it is based on this graphic novel, which I have no idea about, which is entitled Sandcastles. So I never looked up the novel. I only saw the movie. And was I impressed with the movie? Well, let's say I didn't enjoy the film, but I still had a good time. Now, let me be a little bit more specific here to give you guys more of a clearer picture as to what I'm trying to say. Is I think that a movie such as this is only felt more watching if you were to have rented it or seen it on streaming services. I don't find it very highly enough to say it's a theatrical film. But it was out in theaters. I went and watched it. If it was on streaming services, I probably would have seen it there. I don't think it was worth money. It wasn't money's worth. It really wasn't worth the time. But yet, getting to watching it just that one single time, I find it to being itself satisfactory. In which cases, would I go and see the movie again? Probably not. And I didn't get to go see this movie by myself. I didn't get to go see it with my wife. But if my wife was very interested in getting to seeing the movie for herself, then I wouldn't mind going and watching it again for someone else's benefit. But for me personally, if I were to go back to the theater, I would never purchase another ticket to go and watch this movie. It's not perfect, and it's really not that bad either. I had a good time with it, and it did have an M. Night Shyamalan feel, but like I said, it's no Signs, it's no Sixth Sense, it's no Untouchables. It's actually a movie within its own time. We got a big handful of characters. You got this character and these characters, which is actually a family group. The parents, which is Guy, played by Gael Garcia Bernal, and then you get the mother, which is Prisca, played by Vicky Krieps. And then you get a few other individuals, few other families that happen to join and tag along with these, with the other family. Charles, which is played by Rufus Swell. Then you get Crystal, played by Abby Lee Kershaw. Then Jaren, which is played by Ken Leung. We all know who that is. Patricia Nikki Amuka Bird. And then you get the kids in there as well, which is the little boy named Trent, which is played by Alex Wolff, and then you get the sister, the daughter, which is Maddox, played by Thomasin McKenzie. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to this movie because, like I said, this video does contain spoilers. I have no time to be doing two different videos, one involving non-spoilers and the other containing spoilers. So we are combining it all together here, and we're going to be talking about whatever it is that went on within this movie. Because, yes, there is a lot that happened, and the majority of it is unexplainable. And that's pretty much what Shyamalan is. He loves to make things interesting to his perspective. He likes to make these things very much to in relations to his world, into his imaginary world. He's kind of like what I feel about Tim Burton a little bit. Tim Burton nowadays is not really that greatly talented in his directorial career as he did during his earlier days, which is, of course, the late 80s, early 90s. But Shyamalan, he still has a lot of work to do. He really does have a lot of work to do. I don't see him in the Spielberg era, but he does have a vision. He does have a vision, and I love how he has the capability and the will to go and express that vision. And that's what I love about directors who really do put everything in and say, hey, you know what? This is what I want, and this is how it's going to get done. And that's what he does. He always makes this little appearance in every single one of his movies, this little cameo. This one, he's actually in it the majority of the time. He may be playing in the background of the entire film, but you do get to see him in several scenes, more than you usually do within his other movies. So if you haven't seen the trailer yet, or if you haven't even seen the movie just yet, this movie, it's very different, but like I said, very Shyamalan-like. Families go to this beach, and within time, they discover that there is no escaping this beach, and that their kids are aging rapidly. But it's not just the kids, it's actually everyone else. The parents, all the adults, they are actually aging themselves. They're getting older, which is why this movie is entitled Old. But the kids are getting older. They have a large supply of food. Because these children are growing at a very rapid rate, they're going to want to eat in order to provide growth. So they are given that chance, and they are trying to find, instead of figuring out who killed this person that they found wandering around in the water, instead it's now about how are we going to escape from here, what is going on. And they very much kind of explain it, like as if these characters were all scientists and they didn't even bother guessing as to what else it could have been. But instead, they just immediately solved it and said, oh, okay, this is what's going on here. These rocks and the huge amount, the rapid waves is pushing time very rapidly, which is causing them all to age. And even though that sounds very ridiculous, it's just a course of nature. And I could not even believe that. I thought that was a ridiculous explanation. I thought it was something of a more of a mystical property that was luring around that beach area, but apparently not. And the ending is what Shyamalan is sometimes always loving to do in every one of his films, having a little twist going on towards the ending, just to give everybody more of an attention, and once they leave the theater, always scratching their heads and say, wow, what a very interesting ending. Well, this had a twist, but it wasn't as interesting as what he normally would do in all of his other films. You get you get a lot of interesting things that go on in this thing. You saw it in the trailer. It's not really a big spoiler here, but a baby is born, and the baby doesn't live because of the rapid growth, and it actually, after death, immediately turns into ashes. So that was pretty dark. I mean, that was really wow. I mean, that was a lot of stuff going on. So on this beach, you get minutes that are actually days for them, hours that turn into years. So time is really moving fast, and you're getting everybody going either going up against each other, or they're trying to find certain ways on how to escape this beach. You can either swim out into the current and beat those waves to get onto the other side of the island, or you can climb up those rocks. But the thing is that once you leave that beach, you completely black out and end up back on that beach. So it's it's like right there, it makes me feel like it's a little mystical, but no, it's all according to the movie science. So it just, like I said, it didn't really make any much sense, but that was their explanation in the movie. And was I okay with it? Not entirely. So our characters, they eventually either get killed by turning against themselves, or trying to escape, or just to die from natural causes. Because there are several that actually end up on this beach that are already dealing with sicknesses such as cancer, seizures, schizophrenia, or even later on in the film, you get several characters that deal with hearing losses or vision, and there's one that gets disfigured. So it's the movie feels very rated R, because there's a lot of camera work that goes on in this film that would have made this movie rated R, but unfortunately the movie is actually PG-13, which I couldn't even believe. If you were to, because, okay, say the camera that you have right now in front of me, the camera that I'm talking right at you, if all this was actually just showing only this part of the video, that's the movie. That's the movie. They cut everything that's going on in this section here and only focusing what's going on here. Then there's several scenes where it's very blurry because you can't really see on how much these children are rapidly aging. And it's supposed to be a reveal to not only just the parents, but to the audiences that something is actually going on here. It's highly unbelievable. I really wasn't really feeling connected to the characters or the situation. It just felt like it was another version of The Happening. But this movie is better than The Happening, don't get me wrong. But like I said, it doesn't go on anywhere near the top with all of Shyamalan's successful films. But did I like the movie? Like I said, it's okay. It's okay. Would I watch it again? Not really. I had a copy of The Happening, and I only seen it once a long while ago, and I gave it away a long time ago, but I remember I owned the copy of it, and I watched it again to see if maybe I could get some sense of liking it, but it came to where I really hated it so much, I gave it away. I said, nope, I don't want anything to do with this movie. And I feel the same way when it comes to old. I don't see myself buying this movie. I don't see it adding it to my collection. As much as I enjoy Shyamalan's filmmaking, a movie like this does not deserve to be on my movie shelf. I'm sorry. Rotten Tomatoes went ahead and gave this movie a 52%. For me, I actually am around the same area of giving it a 47%. It's right in the borderline area. Do I like it? Do I like it more than I hate it? Well, like I said, it's very much in the middle. It's very much in the middle. But I would have to say, like I said, I dislike it more than I do like it. So it really does just scratch your head and just try and figure this movie out. Towards the ending of the movie, the only remaining characters left are the children, which is Trent and Maddox, which are now older, played by Emun Elliott and Embeth Davidtz. I recognized Miss Davidtz, and I remember her from the movies like Matilda and Bicentennial Man. So when I saw her, I'm like, wow, she's still beautiful, but you can really tell she got older. Wow. But I recognized her immediately, and I haven't seen her in a god-awful while. So it was great getting to see her again. But they find this way to get off the beach. And I keep thinking island, but no, it's not an island, it's a beach. But they find this way through by these little symbols that him and another fellow child that they were playing with during the beginning of the film try to pretend as spies. And they got this message that tells them that my uncle does not like corals. So they see a band full of corals, they swim towards those corals, and it happens to be like some sort of metal tube that you can swim right under. It's very cave-like, which kept them from having to continuously being stuck on that beach. So it was a loophole. It was an escape route. So they found their way through, but apparently for somebody such as the individual character that Shyamalan plays, they declare them dead, but really they find their way out. They survived, and they go back to the hotel. Then they explain the situation to everybody, which, having to say, everything that took place on this beach only took 1 day and a half, but yet them having to be gone from when they were children, coming back being older people. It's a really huge head twister, according to everyone who was witnessing and seeing and witnessing and watching these two explaining their experience on that beach and the death of so many others, just for the sake of these researchers, these scientists having to do some experimental new drug to it's something that would take years into development, would actually only take hours to only a day to find the actual result to the in particular sicknesses, such as our characters that got killed off within this entire film. Like I said, when it comes to cancer, seizures, schizophrenia, so on and so forth. So, and they found a cure somewhere when it comes to seizures, because the character which was Patricia had seizures, but didn't have one within a long period of time until she actually got killed off towards the ending of the film. But these researchers, which is the whole entire hotel, were figured out because the kids did a little thing like career questions when they go run into just any in particular stranger, which are visitors to the hotel, and asking them who they are and what their profession is, and one of them happens to be a cop. So the child Trent finds this notebook, which it has from recent victims on that beach that are victims' names and addresses, things like that, and giving it to the cop, exposing the entire hotel for their little scam that they've been putting on for God knows how long. But is it a life-changing experience for this in particular situation that takes place in the film? Well, I don't really see the story taking itself any further than what it already is, because the movie should have ended pretty much a long time ago, but yet it's still going on, and the movie seemed like it was already over when it faded to black, but yet there was one more scene which really had nothing to do with the movie, just saying what happens to our characters after this situation is resolved. So they're just in a helicopter and they say they're just going to go move in with their aunt, which they happen to be the same age level now, so which would be very weird. So, but yeah, everybody dies except for those two, and they get to go live with their aunt, which is their only remaining family relative. So, you would think that maybe everything, if it was a very mystical story, that there would be some way that that they would find a way to, because they were a very divided family, and they were gonna, this is like their last family vacation, and they finally get back together, the parents, because the wife cheated on the dad, and she had cancer, and the kids weren't gonna understand. So, you know, you would think towards the ending, once they all come back and reunited, that they would find a way out together, and they live happily ever after. That wasn't in particular the case. So there you have it, everybody. That is my review for M. Night Shyamalan's Old. What did you guys think? Did you guys go check out the movie? If so, if you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section in the bottom, and let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but more importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on Facebook and on YouTube. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support and helping me out in this channel. It's a huge personal hobby of mine that I love to share and express to all of you wonderful viewers out there. So I appreciate everybody's support. I don't know if I'm going to be working on doing a Snake Eyes review and that new Escape Room movie. It's because I'm a little bit too scared to go. It's not that I'm terrified of the film. I'm terrified of the film of being terrible. I don't want to waste any more of my money that I used up on when I was watching Old here. I don't really feel like Snake Eyes is going to be a good movie, and Escape Room isn't really big of a movie to go and watch. But if I have the time, if I really feel like it, I'll check it out, and then I will express what I feel about the movie in my next movie review. So, in that case, everybody, I'm Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks, you guys, once more again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.